So I was wondering, guys, at what point did you find out that you were going to be working together again, and what was your initial response? Very excited?
Devastated.
Devastated. Anyone but Joan. I remember I was driving back from the Fantastic Beasts set, and I'd read the script, and when I was sent it, I was told that Felicity was also being sent it, and I just consumed the script because it was completely fresh, and it was more than anything I've ever done or read. It was a film I wanted to see. Some of the idea of the images was so. But it's this weird film because half of it is massive and epic in scale, and the other half is this intimate two-hander in a basket. And I knew that when I knew Felicity was doing it, or was interested in doing it, the idea of the two of us getting to challenge each other again was extraordinary.
Yeah, I think it was such an unusual idea. I've never sort of seen a film about a gas air balloon, and the idea of it being such an adventure story as well, and it feels like you're on a ride when you're watching it, and I think the fun of it was something that really appealed as well. Obviously, having done Theory of Everything, and it was nice to explore again our dynamic, but in a very different context.
Were there personality traits in kind of your respective characters, James and Amelia, that you felt you could relate to, or even traits in one another's characters that you felt you could relate to?
There were definitely moments when I was like, is this Eddie and Felicity having a heated discussion, or is this Amelia and James? We definitely I feel like when you're making something, you do lean into your character traits a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there were definitely some moments where sort of James's meticulousness and Amelia's, throw caution to the wind would cause a certain amount of conflict.
Totally true.
It's the joy
I'm a
of
really
working together.
really anal person, so I was really well cast.
I know,
and
probably
much more free-willed.
Don't worry about the details enough. So that's probably where we kind of meet in the middle actually and find a balance.
When it comes to actually the more kind of intimate dramas and biopics, such as this and The Theory of Everything, and then you guys have worked in kind of the big franchise movies as well, Star Wars and, Fantastic Beasts. Do you find that you have different approaches to those respective movies, or is it just kind of another character for you every time?
I think you have to root it in the character. I think actually what changes is probably the preparation. So for these kind of films, there's a lot of action, there's a huge amount of physical prep that goes into it. So your life can be, there's a lot of time spent at the gym as opposed to when you're doing a sort of drawing room drama. It's a slightly different muscle, so to speak, that you're using. But I think it's always the character, and I guess depending on the scale, then maybe the tone changes a little bit.
And also the sort of setup, I would say, for things like Star Wars or the Beasts films. The infrastructure is so massive that it's possible to break through to the intimate, but there's just a load more people, and so I find on films that are when it is just the two of you. With a director and a writer, you can very quickly get down to the core of the thing.
The intimacy.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any kind of fond memories of flying yourselves or taking to new heights?
Weirdly, we all become obsessed with there's this weird stage when we sort of made the film where the director and Felicity and I would send each other photos from airplanes. I go, oh my God, have you seen these clouds? We became sort of weirdly...
This is a cumulus.
That's Octa 7.
Cirrus. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of... you did suddenly, actually, getting on a plane became a whole different event. Having that knowledge of what it's like from going up in a balloon, and then suddenly you just don't take it for granted quite as much, and you realise, God, what a feat of scientific endeavour that you can get up here.
But also how you make an audience re-look, because lots of people have been on aeroplanes. We've all had that thing of going through the clouds and coming up and stuff. But how do you make people see that again from the fragility of a basket and a gas balloon and nothing but gas and wicker, basically? And I think that was one of the challenges.
Yeah, I think interestingly, it's getting the audience to believe, isn't it? And if they believe in the dynamic that's happening in that tiny basket, then they will believe that you're 30,000 feet up in the sky. And that was quite a challenge, I think, making sure that they totally were rooting for these characters.
There's a line in this movie I absolutely love. It's actually your co-star Hamish Patel says it, and it's some reach for the stars, some push others towards them. And I was wondering, in each of your lives, who has been the person that has pushed you towards the stars?
Oh my God, what a question.
That's a lovely question.
Thank you.
Eddie Redmayne.
It's really interesting. I think it's probably those teachers more than anything. Certainly for me, it was an amazing teacher I had when I was at school, who was an actor himself, who had never taught and had come and started at school and treated us like professionals because that was all he knew. And he was always the person who gave me. He was called Simon Dormandy, and he was the guy that gave me all the inspiration to aspire to it, I think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's those people who take a bit of a risk in a way on you. I remember similarly, I went to a drama group growing up, and Colin Edwards used to run it, and he took us all so seriously, and we would put on plays and have auditions for film and television. But those early people who treat you in a sort of grown-up way and make you feel actually that it is possible to pursue this crazy job that we do.
So it begins.
Don't you wish to be up there with them?
Some reach for the stars, some push others towards them.